to make, it's like making mockery of everybody watching and listening to them. Like they're because everybody could tell they are trying to like play that dumb game that looks like, oh, I didn't steal money, or I only gave you that money from the savings when I was, oh, I mean, cut the crap anyway. But I was there at where they are trying to make Wike feel better, that he's done something well and it's going to be a time to pay back. Okay. And I hope they won't poison him. We may never know who poisoned Wike. We may never know. But there is this assurance clip that got replayed. I did say something to you about Dangote this afternoon, right? That the same person they told you is going to start refining crude oil in Nigeria, and then they are going to be selling Nigeria crude oil to him in naira, not in the normal dollars, Abi. However, there are many other revelations that are coming out now. A lot of you are seeing them, but somehow you are hoping that they are not true, but they are true. In one scenario where they are trying to stop the what you can call the fuel importation certificate given to Dangote, how could you give fuel importation license to somebody you told Nigerians that the emergence of a Dangote refinery is going to end fuel importation and end subsidy in Nigeria? Then you turned around to say, okay, it's not going to end subsidy. And you have, after Nigeria gave Dangote over $8 billion to build this refinery that is even still very much uncompleted. Now, this 8 billion US dollars that Dangote is yet to produce one single petroleum from its refinery. The central bank under Emefiele said Dangote has already paid back over 70% of the loan. Yeah, that's part of the GBT. The money is being invested in Dangote refinery. Nigeria money invested in Dangote refinery in the names of individuals, okay, who are indeed going to be called investors. But you know, the package, the arrangement is so mad, yeah, that they said that a liter of petroleum, a barrel of crude oil that is sold for over $80 a barrel will be sold to Dangote in naira. And somehow, the same Dangote is not going to, for any reason, sell the finished products to you according to the naira that they sold the crude oil to him for. You know what I mean? Like, Dangote is going to sell his finished product to you according to the price of crude oil in the international markets. So pretty much like the oil importers that are receiving subsidy, only for them to come back to say the same government, the GBT government of Bokwari, they also issued a license to Dangote to be the sole importer of petroleum products in Nigeria, not NNPC anymore. So whenever Nigeria want to pay subsidy on importation of fuel into Nigeria, that will be called Dangote fuel. Now, Dangote refinery in Lagos doesn't need importation of fuel, does it? But they are going to import a finished product from abroad, send them straight to Dangote refinery. And you are all going to believe that they are refining crude oil in Dangote refinery, Abi? So on the other hand, the deal is so shady that if all of you actually know what this is all about, wherever you see these criminals, you go hold them, citizen arrest, from Tifnumbu to Bokwari to everybody, wherever you see them. But unfortunately, they've done probably worse than that for them to be so bold enough to use your central bank as a collateral for a supposed private business of a Nigerian businessman. Unfortunately, Dangote, the same one who the argument now started in the House of Rep that they must revoke that license. Now, the rookie, a new lawmaker, that was trying to move that in House of Representatives, that the license that Bukwari gave to Dangote to be the sole importer of petroleum in Nigeria, that you are buying a liter of petrol at 600 naira, 500 naira, 700 naira today. They are just preparing you for this Dangote consortium, this Dangote monopoly. Nigeria will be paying him. You will be paying him. At the end of the day, Dangote refinery scam won't even produce any single fuel at any commercial quantity until 2025. I don't know if you know that anyway. That's not that's the truth. Dangote refinery cannot produce any finished refined crude in Nigeria at a commercial quantity until 2025. But they opened it last month and they told you it's going to start production in July. What they didn't tell you was they already gave him a license to import fuel into Nigeria. And from July, Tifnumbu's government is going to start paying subsidy to him. Yes, they will pay him. You're going to see they'll pay him. And because you already thought they've opened Dangote refinery, therefore maybe Dangote refineries is already pumping out the fuel. Shebi Dangote already told you that it's not going to cut its cost. So at the end of the day, everything will just kind of just move like that. And according to them, it's a country of 200 million mumu. Even if they know the truth, they dare not challenge it. How can they? They don't have that ball. Do you have the ball to challenge them? You would rather excuse it and hope what Mayegun is saying right now is not true. Oh, Mayegun is just saying that. It may not be true. Don't worry. You will find out too. A rookie lawmaker tried to challenge that, then chop arm because of inexperience. They wanted to stop that Dangote license for oil importation. Really? And this happened, guys. A long watch.
Ajin Galbasu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to send a matter of urgent public importance. Mr. Speaker, yesterday NNPC has issued import permit to Dangote for a sole importation of petroleum product in this country. Mr. Speaker, NNPC belongs to all Nigerians, and there are other importers of this petroleum product in this country, and they have all the infrastructure.
Just introduce the subject matter so that we can get a seconder, please.
Okay. I tried to move that Dangote was given sole importation permit of petroleum products. I moved this motion. I so moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder, please. Again, you cannot misguide in a class. If I ask you, you don't know, just say you don't know. It doesn't require seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I remain Benjamin Okezie Carlo. I represent the good people of Nigeria, starting from Bende Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to assist some of our new members who are desirous of presenting motions to be well.
Honorable Dogwa, please can you approach the chair?
Sorry.
To be well guided by the rules of the House. It is expected that when you want to move a motion of urgent public importance, first, you have to do a written work that must be presented to the Speaker ahead of time. for him not to be taken unawares. That is one. Secondly, when the time is given to you to make your presentation, you will seek the permission of the House in line with Order 8, Rule 4, seeking for suspension of the House rule to enable it be heard. And in doing that, it is expected that the topic that you want to present has all the elements of urgency embedded in it. If it is not as urgent as you may think it is, it will come under notice so that members who have pre-knowledge of what you want to discuss, research, prepare for it, and contribute during debate. So I think the House rule that has been handed over to us during induction is for this purpose. Let us consult it the more. The issue you raise is very topical. I leave it for the Speaker to rule on that, but I just wanted other members who may want to come up for issues of urgent public importance to be well guided. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, DS. May I call on the suspension of the rules so that can we get a proposal to suspend the rules so that we can take this particular motion?
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My respected colleagues, Mr. Speaker, I beg of your indulgence to say that the same mover of the motion, sir, should be allowed to move for the suspension of our rules.
Correct. So,
now get the consent of members.
Can you move that we suspend our rules to take this motion if it is urgent enough?
Yes, and we put it to question, sir, with due respect.
And then we put it to question.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I hereby apply for the suspension now. Mr. Speaker, my name is Gali Mustafa Tijani, member representing Gaya Ajingi Albasu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I apply for the suspension of Order 8, Rule 4. I so moved.
Any seconder? Honorable Idem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. My name is Idem Unyime, member representing Ukanafun, Orowanam Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague. I so second. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. Those who are in support that we suspend the rules to take this particular motion should say aye.
Aye.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. We take the second leg. Those who are in support of this motion to be taken now should say aye. Those who are against should say nay. The ayes have it. So please go ahead and present your motion.
Mr. Speaker, I remain Gali Mustafa Tijani, member representing Gaya Ajingi Albasu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, NNPC Limited yesterday issued import permit to Dangote Petrochemical as a sole importer of petroleum product to this country. Mr. Speaker, that is not what should have been, because there are other importers of this petroleum product over the years in this country, and they are doing wonderfully well. And they have employed so many Nigerians, and they have built so much infrastructure. Therefore, I so moved, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable colleague.
My
honorable colleague.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my prayer is that this...
Please sit down. Do you have a written copy?
At the end of this month, it is going on with, what do you call it? It's going on with at least 214 million naira. He's a new lawmaker. He's going to collect his housing allowance. He's going to collect, he's going to collect all of his allowances, and then because he's a new member. So, but he was, or should I say, well, he's a new member inexperienced, okay? But he wanted the House to stop NNPC from issuing a sole import license to Dangote Petroleum. NNPC in Nigeria, in the last 7.5 years, they have supervised the stealing of Nigeria crude oil that is valued at over 118 trillion naira in 7.5 years. 700,000 barrels of crude oil were being stolen from Nigeria every day, uninterrupted, for a straight 7 years. When they found one of those who were stealing Nigeria oil, the vessel, you know what they did? Breaking news. We found one vessel among those who were stealing Nigeria crude oil. Oh, brilliant. Who are the owners? Who are the crew? Where was he headed? Where was he from? Who are those, who are those working with it in Nigeria? This is a good thing. A vessel doesn't just appear. A vessel of that size doesn't just appear. Where Nigeria have crude oil that is being stolen. But before we could even say jack, they've set the whole ship ablaze. They burned the entire thing, and that was the end of those who have been stealing Nigeria crude oil for 7 years. 118 trillion naira stolen. And when it comes to the payment for subsidy, under Buhari, Nigeria paid over 15 trillion naira for subsidy, 16 trillion naira for subsidy, 16 trillion naira. Nigerians still spend more or pay more for a liter of petrol. The scam was so huge that people didn't even know that it was NNPC that is importing fuel into Nigeria, only them. And the NNPC is paying itself fuel subsidy when their job was to monitor the oil industry of Nigeria, including the sale and everything, protect the interest of Nigeria. This crook destroyed Nigeria. And when Buhari, who supervised all of that, when he absconded to Niger Republic, the same NNPC became private company. NNPC is Nigeria owned. That's Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation. It is Nigerians' property. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Some said NNPC is actually Northern Nigeria Petroleum Corporation. It is not Nigerian National Petroleum. No. That's the bogus meaning they gave to all of us. But if you look at the NNPC very well, it's probably belonged to Northern Nigeria. It's like an entitlement. They own it. So they sold it. They sold NNPC. They privatized it. Nigerians didn't even know who and who bought or what, and what is their own share in it. Nobody knows anything. They just said federal government of Nigeria will have so percentage in NNPC. Who are the buyers? They use Nigeria money to give themselves shares in NNPC when they sold it off. But they still hold control over who controls the oil sector in Nigeria, even though they have become private company. This whole scam, everything is sha. Ladies and gentlemen, they wanted to escape that, and they believed that maybe Tifnumbu will probably not want to take it away from Dangote, because Dangote represents the criminal enterprise of Nigeria. Everything that is wrong with Nigeria, that is what Dangote represents, right? Dangote is not just Dangote. The interest of the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausa criminals, Yoruba criminals, Igbo criminals, a lot of them who have stolen from you or help them cover the crime against you. they all got rewarded with something from Dangote. And Dangote there, who is sitting over the vast resources of Nigeria, in lieu for these criminals, receive in return, he received the protection from them. So if Tifnubu decide to go after and take that from him, or decide to probably even just take the entire refinery from him, because Dangote has no money in that refinery, they robbed Nigeria for years. Even at that, they still couldn't deliver it anyway. So they would need somebody to continue to write the blank check, and that would be Kolu. Kolu will write the blank check, except if it's going to be, I mean, it won't write the blank check, except if it's going to be the one that is actually like owning the Dangote. And all of this deal, they believe that maybe if Dangote owns it and be the one to say, oh yeah, he's the one importing. So if you take it away from him, you are taking away the power of the people that can destroy Nigeria because of that. Something like that, Sha. Because I don't understand this. So Dangote get refinery. Dangote still be the only person who can import fuel to Nigeria. So which means if that before Dangote starts refining anything, it can still continue to import the same way he's the only one who can import sugar. Import this, import. Anyway, you know what I mean, Sha? So how do you sell off the national assets? We don't know the buyers. The national asset, NNPC and its properties, they sold them. Tifnubu is talking to people, and the people he inaugurated to advise him on policy on the economy. They told Kolu to sell Nigeria properties, assets, to pay debt, if they really want to get Nigeria out of the wood, at least for a starter. Bokwari don't sell everything. Whatever is left now, maybe land or something, I don't know. Sure you get. Dangote owns the Nigerian oil industry now. You know what I mean? So yeah, NNPC just did that, and a rookie lawmaker wanted to bring it to the attention of his own colleagues that this is so wrong. And inexperience killed it. And you probably will never hear anything more about it. But you can put that as one of those would-be dramas. So, Asari Dokubo is kind of should probably be, those guys should be nominated as those who are going to provide alternative security for you in Nigeria, because it's meant to, right? So Dokubo was inside the asshole Rocker Villa where he met with Kolu, and then he said that after conversing with him, they've worked out something to end oil bunkering in Niger Delta. Does that even make any sense? And a lot of people said the humbled slaves, the sophisticated morons, the Lagos Abobakus, they confidently said that there's nothing wrong in working with all these criminals. Listen, Asari Dokubo, James Sibori, Kabaka, MC Olueron, and all those rogues in this your Nigeria, like I told you, where lunatics have taken over the asylum. Of course, they would have to promise protection, just like under Bokwari, when Miyeti Allah was providing security or promising us security in southwest Nigeria and eastern Nigeria. Miyeti Allah had to sign a deal with this former governor in Anambra. You know, Miyeti Allah even got appointed into, why did I forget his name again? Your former governor in Anambra. He appointed Miyeti Allah so that he can bring peace to Anambra. If Fulani terrorist, if you kill any cow, you will pay 500,000 naira. So if Fulani terrorists kill you, because they are fighting you and all of that, they kill you. So the Fulani terrorists will pay you 500,000 naira. That was part of the deal that Obiano signed with this Fulani terrorists in Anambra too. They went to Ondo State. They said they wanted to become part of the Southwest Vigilante to protect us from the Fulani terrorists. Miet Yala, that is the spokesperson or spoke group for the Fulani terrorists. So anyway, we saw all that shaggy. Now the terrorists seems to, the Islamic terrorists are gone, or probably kind of taking the back seat for now. So the Southern terrorists are taking charge. So Asari Dokubo said, he's been providing security for the people for the travelers of Lagos, of Kaduna Abuja Expressway. Remember that Boko Haram, Fulani terrorists, they call bandits, have taken over all those axes for 8 years of Boko Haram. Abi? Well, you know the story. So what happened now is that under Boko Haram, by the way, terrorists were protecting pipelines from vandals, from oil thieves, and all of that stuff. But after meeting with Escobar, Asari said there will be no oil theft in Niger Delta anymore. Now let's cough, right? Let me give you this repeat, and then we'll move on.
He just to come and say hello to my father. I've congratulated him before this time, and to give a word of support for what he has achieved and what he has done so far. And I know that Nigeria had changed. Nigeria had turned 360 degrees in the positive direction. When I'm speaking about the president, I'm speaking from a personal point of view. I will do everything, I can stake everything to make my father, in quote, succeed. And that is a promise I had given to myself and a promise I've given to him. Oil theft will be stopped. There'll be zero oil theft in the Niger Delta, inshallah. Thank you very much.
So when he finished that appearance after seeing Kolu, a lot of people were kind of jolted. I was reading so many comments online where a lot of people were like, man, they've never actually seen any kind of former militant or terrorist or anything sitting inside the asshole rock to address the press. And this is more so degrading, insulting, and all of that, and like severe pain. Anyway, and I was like, don't worry, you are going to see more of that. What are you going to do if you see MC Olueron inside the asshole rock? Coco Cider and the rest of them, are you going to pretend that you are surprised? You're going to see them. They're going to be around. You're going to see, you're going to see them on the presidential jet. Yeah, you're going to see them. They're going to fly all those things. When they are flying them, when you are seeing them and all of that, yeah? Do you know those who are also going to be so pained? They are going to be the CPC of Boko Haram's party, where the likes of Malamu, Shadia, Adisirika, Gandola, and on like that, yeah, are also going to be displayed as the scapegoats of everything wrong with Nigeria. Prepare yourself, it's going to be an endless episodes. But for those you are going to see for now, and those who are still going to end up and they're going to be used as scapegoats, of course, time will tell. I have an advice for you. If you have been one of those, if you have been like me, people who don't live in Nigeria, vocal, free, we could say whatever we wanted to say. We have the freedom of speech. In Nigeria, you know that the freedom after speech is not guaranteed, Abi. And I want you to know that even though Bokwari is not there, the same pattern is still playing itself. If you know, say you know won't end up in any of their filthy, inhumane dungeons, don't go to Nigeria. There is this guy, let's be the name again, Ayo Shogunro or something. So the guy was visiting Nigeria. And this happened just a few days ago, by the way, just 2 days ago. So when he got to Nigeria, he was picked up at the airport in Abuja. What's going on? What happened and all that? No explanation. And that's how he ended up in what later came out to be DSS detention. He's been very vocal on social media, especially on Twitter. He didn't tell anybody. Some people probably didn't even know he's not in Nigeria until he was arrested. And he probably didn't tell anybody he was going to Nigeria. So what then happened is this. They already have our names and what we have said or currently saying. Remember the hate speech bill and social media bill or social media, whatever, where you can go to jail. If, for example, you say, Kolu has dementia, which I have said many times. So I will be sent to jail because I didn't take permission from the Ministry of Information in Nigeria before I could say that to you that Kolu get dementia. In hand they shake, in leg they shake, in voice they shake, in neck they shake. You know, that kind of thing. That by that law, I was supposed to write to the Ministry of Information and say, hey, I want to go and tell the whole world that Kolu is very sick, that he is not mentally okay. Sure you get. And in order not to break any law. So the ministry will now say, no, don't say that. You are not allowed to post anything like that on social media. But if I fail, if I go ahead and post it, I've committed a crime that will send me to jail for 10 years. Okay? So it's called the social media law, which means before Nigerians can post anything on social media about Nigeria, they will first write permission at the ministry. Something like that, shasha crazy. So that is in effect. One of the things that Kolu and his gang did during their charade campaign was that they wrote to the DSS. They wrote to the Nigeria Broadcasting Corporation. They asked the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation to sanction any media houses promoting any criticism of Tifnumbu. Anybody writing anything or posting anything about Tifnumbu, any of those things on social media, if any media house in Nigeria should publish them, the NBC should punish them. Sure you get. And NBC was like, okay, we're going to do that. Don't write anything against the APC candidates or you go to jail or you pay fine. And they actually sanctioned few media houses, by the way, because of this. 5 million naira, 1.5 million naira. Some journalists got fined too for what they called criticizing Tifnumbu. Then they wrote DSS. They wanted DSS to caution the people who are criticizing Tifnumbu, who are writing about his drug case in America, his heroin trafficking case, where he forfeited 460,000 US dollars, the proceeds of heroin trafficking, to the a district court in Chicago, Illinois. If you say all of that, DSS will arrest you to come and give them evidence. Even when all the evidence is on social media, is online, is everywhere. But APC, Egbekegbe Tifnumbu's people, they wrote DSS to arrest anybody. Remember, this was when they are not like in power. It was electional. Now they have that power to appoint who is going to be the DSS director, who is going to be the NSA, National Security Advisor, to appoint who is going to be the police IG, including who is going to be the justice, this or that, including your Chief Justice of Nigeria. Now, they have all that power. So you should please remember, if you have criticized them, if you have said anything, you see, they are inheriting people's enemies. Oh, they are inheriting those they believe just don't like APC. They call you enemies who want to set Nigeria on fire. So if you go to Nigeria, of course, with, like, maybe not like me, who has a channel. If you're just the regular person who just criticize them and all of that, you just need to pack your bags, okay? When you get to Nigeria, you may not be visiting your families. Now your family go to visit you. Like Emefiole is currently begging them to allow him to see his family, since they told him that he was invited or arrested over a week ago. Emefiole is right there with the DSS. Just same thing with the EFCC chairman. So if you are going to Nigeria and you are a regular critic of Ekolu Tifnumbu, I advise you to abort mission. You don't want to go and find out anyway. But it's also up to you. You may just try to find out if your name is on their word of view. It's going to be a long journey. And I hope a lot of you are actually ready for it. The kidnappings are back. The kidnappers are back. The Boko Haram, they are back. The killings back. And all the fraudulent propagandas are also back. Now you go to suffer. Now them go to tell you, say, now pretends you they pretend. This country is very hard. They will tell you, say, it's not that bad. It's getting better, dear. It's getting better, dear. Now you never see them. Just wait, it's going to get better. And so then tell some of these walking dead people today, no be people who are dead under Boko Haram, whether na hunger kill them or na terrorists kill them or na police kill them. They are lucky. I'm sorry to all of you who are their family members. I'm not trying to make light of your losses, okay? I'm saying they are lucky. You know why? They ended it. You and I can talk today about how things have gotten bad in Nigeria and how it's still going to get bad, and how many other victims are still going to become victims of this, and how many people are still going to die, people that shouldn't die. Of course, their policies kill people. But put it this way, you and I are here worried. What's going to happen to our children? What is going to happen to all of, you know what I mean? All that kind of things. You are worried because you are alive. If you are dead, Baba, you are dead. You don't understand. And that's why I do tell people that even though it is always ideal for all of us to go when it is right, receive help, right? When you are feeling kind of so like you want to end it. But the bottom line is this: APC, Egbekegbe, destroyed lives of people. A lot of people died. But there are also a lot of people who are not dead, but they are not alive. Do you know that? You have them you have them as people you know. Okay, I'm not wishing you this bad, but these bad things happen to a lot of people, a lot of families. Yeah, today. So, for those of you who are still here, you are here to worry about the damages that Boko Haram did, APC, Egbekegbe, and the ones that are still coming. If you lived through it, well, lucky you. There are so many people that this whole thing have actually like crushed, destroyed. All these stories that you read about, all this looting, all this terrorism, the corruption and all of that, people's lives and livelihood were destroyed. A lot of them didn't recover, and they may never recover. For those who have died, you can just say, okay, maybe they are not here anymore, but there are those who are still here, but they are not dead. They are no longer in any way themselves anymore. They may never be, because there's no sign that things are going to probably simmer or change. You are just going to have to, like, change the way you adapt to it. And I think that's pretty much what I see. So, as it stands, please don't make yourself a victim or somebody want to find out how bad it is right now. So, going forward, in all of this, there are people who still believe, that still believe that Mayegun, it is still not over. And I love to kind of indulge people like that because, it takes so much for so many people to hold on to Nigeria this long. A lot of people have seen the damages long time ago, but somehow they kept telling themselves that maybe, just a little bit more, things may get better, or things may kind of take a different turn, but they just keep taking the bad and the worst and the worst and the worst turn, right? And that takes a lot of faith. You know what somebody told me about poverty? It wasn't mocking poverty, okay? He said, the poverty that a lot of us kind of dread, sometimes we misunderstood what the commitment of poor people, like the mentality of that poverty, right? Let me tell you something about this, that how that person kind of illustrated it for me. I'm going to try just so you understand what I'm trying to, or what I'm driving at. Poverty is something of, as they say, state of mind, and mostly the physical part of it is the lack, which is lack of this, lack of that, or insufficient of this plus that, and pretty much about not having at all or not having enough. Okay. Now, you'll be wondering that how come the people the people you call poor, how come they appear like happy? Because there are some of you that if you live this current life you are living right now, the one you actually achieved for yourself, you worked hard to be where you are right now, okay? You see, whatever the comfortability that you have earned for yourself, especially the one that makes you feel like at least you are above that level of poverty, kind of lack and all that. You know what I mean? When you see the life of people who are poor, but they still look happy, not worried, not panicky, not stressed, they still kind of appear like normal, something that will never make you normal. So let me give you an example. There are many of you today who are financially very okay, which means you could afford your own house, you could afford your own Medicare, you could afford a lot of things money can buy, food and all that. Now, when you put a number beside what it actually takes to keep you comfortable right now, the number is staggering. A lot of you will be like, to keep my household running every month, I earn good money, but I spend over 10,000 US dollars, or I spend over 10 million naira a month to keep my family running, children's school fees, medicals, and all of that stuff, our automobiles, our, all that stuff, Sha. There are people like that. They will say they spend that much. Rich people. For me, I mean, if you ask me, my own could be like around 5,000, 6,000 to keep my own family running, and at the same time pay my bills. You see, that lifestyle is lifestyle of comfort that when you meet people who earn far, far below you, and they are still living fine. They are paying their rent, they are paying their school fee. I mean, their children's school fees. Some of them are running businesses aside. They don't seem to have as much as you have, even though you are still looking for more in order to be comfortable. Then when you are like, okay, there are people who actually survive or live on 10,000 naira a month. And you're like, no way, it's impossible, Mayegun. How can somebody survive on the 10,000 naira? I cannot even survive on 500,000 naira. I can't even survive on the 400,000 naira. You know, that kind of thing, right? That level of poverty that you be like, if I should fall to that level, I may kill myself. Do you know that? Have you ever imagined it? Like from spending a lifestyle of, let's say, 5 million naira every month. You earn it, or is your job, or is your money, or like you are okay, or I mean, like comfortable, sure you get. But just imagine where you have to like manage 100,000 naira. So that kind of poverty, yeah? And then you see people so comfortable in that. Yeah. It's a state of poverty, yeah? Like it's kind of poor. But they are okay. They look at you like, what are you talking about? Are you saying 100,000 naira is too small? Look at this Mayegun. Do you think everybody will be like you, Ni? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to give you a competition here. Okay? I'm just saying that poverty is a state of mind to start with, okay? And there are people who are very comfortable in that. Because when you say a normal life should not be somewhere you have to like manage 20,000 naira or 30,000 naira as minimum wage, and be thankful to those who did that to you. Be ready to defend them, because they could choose not to do that anyway, and nobody will do anything to them. So being so comfortable in that state is something of the mind that a lot of you will lose your mind. If you get downgraded from spending a lifestyle of 1 million naira every month, 2 million naira every month, downgraded to the lifestyle of 100,000 naira, you lose your mind. And you begin to ask yourself, how are the millions of people who have actually been living like that? How have they been surviving? How have they been kind of doing it? A lot of you are paying people who have family members, who have people mouth to feed. You pay them 20,000 naira, 30,000 naira. And somehow, when they talk about poverty, you come around to say, people can survive on little money. People don't need much. But you can't. Now, anyway, don't worry. It seems to be like a TED talk, motivational talk and the rest, okay? It's not. I'm just trying to like picture the level of poverty they created in Nigeria. Some of them that a lot of you support. And since it's pretty much about if I'm okay, if it's not happening to me, it's not happening to anyone. I don't know. I just felt I should share that with you in that regard, okay? I'm going to go and leave. I initially wanted to take calls, but I feel like I can't take that much time anymore. So let's consider this as part of my own coming back, okay? So I would continue. Should I say, I would wish that this nightmare disappears, but it's not in any way. The lunatics They have taken over the asylum. And here you are. They are breeding the colony of the enslaved. Now, a lot of us are going to fall into that because you will think, maybe those who think that somehow, they are vulnerable and they can't it's like they can't avoid it. So they will deal with it and call it their own destiny. And whatever it is, like they did in 8 years of Bokuwari. So it's not renewed hope, it's called renewed slavery, the drama, and every other thing that comes with it. So I will be here to remind you the consequences of your choices, and I will also be here to wish those of you who still always kind of feel like there could be a glimpse of hope. I don't see one, okay? But maybe through your eyes, I'll help you keep faith. And if every other thing, all things being equal, that we all find out that we are all headed for the same doom, whether you are supporting them or you are not. The damages they have done, the dramas they are going to give, the distractions that are going to come with it, the disappearance of Kolu, and also the people that are going to take position fighting for what they are or they can control, like they did under Bokuwari. Everything is going to come back to one thing. To prove the likes of Mayegun right, that after all said and done, the best and the ideal thing for Nigeria is for all of us to go our separate ways. And talking about going our separate ways, Nigeria won't be united because there's not going to be any sign of it. You don't unite in poverty, okay? Where you have poverty, there's going to be increased crime. There's going to be increased ethnic tension, tribal tension, religious tension. Poverty breeds hate. Poverty breeds all kind of animosity. And all you are witnessing in Nigeria today are man-made problems. And if you want them to go away, if you want an end to it, you need to kill the source. The source of all of this is that Nigeria fraudulently fused together in this sense, right? Needs to go. And even if you don't want it to happen, agitation is going to increase under these criminals. The campaign for the breakup of Nigeria is going to take even a kind of an aggressive approach under these criminals. The initial gra that they are currently pulling off, the initial distraction and the rest of that, they don't really last long. You can win you can kind of win or rig an election through propaganda. You can't rule a country by propaganda. APC, Egbekegbe, represent division. They represent poverty, corruption, and destruction. And as long as Nigeria exists, the likes of APC, they will continue to suck and suck and suck our own blood, the blood of innocent people, before they suck yours. I hope and I pray that you will see that reality. There is only one way out. One way out. We should all sit together and discuss if we still want to be one country, under what arrangement or conditions, or we go our separate ways. So keep that as a reminder. I will see you some other time. So, like I said, agitation, marginalization, state sponsored or state backed profiling, corruption, poverty, religious intolerance. These are symptoms of a failed country. Politicians are milking it, but they won't do so for long. Their lies and other manipulation, even their threats and state whatever capture, they can only succeed if at least they are fixing Nigeria. And they have no plan of fixing Nigeria. Since they have no plan, poverty will spread. angst will spread, hate will spread, and every other vice that has pitted Nigeria or pushed Nigeria to the precipice of breakup, they will spread. Agitation will not die down. Rather, they will take a new approach. Yoruba nation agitation will take a new approach, an aggressive one. That's what I'm saying. The Biafra referendum and the self-determination agitation will take another approach as well. Seriously, it's going to be more aggressive. You see, the more failure that these criminals are dishing out, the closer the breakup of Nigeria is going to be. I know you still don't believe it's possible. I know you still don't believe it's going to happen, but it's not yours to believe or to make happen. Their failure will push everybody to choose that route very soon. I mean, they've already proved enough, yeah, that today Nigeria is more divided. And a lot of us are asking that please, before we turn around and begin to kill ourselves, can we at least pretend that we care for ourselves by calling for that national conversation? Let the Igbos leave. Let the Yorubas leave. Let the Arewas leave. Let the Kwararafas go. If the Ijaw nations want to go, let them go. If the Ogoni land wants to be their own country, let that be. Let everybody choose what they want. And you can only know what everybody wants if you let them choose. Or if they won't let us choose, if all of you are going to continue to lie to yourselves, that you are speaking to one sky daddy is giving you one vision and the rest of that, you are never going to be in any way different from your parents. Our parents believe so much in Nigeria. Breaking up of Nigeria wasn't that appealing to some of them. And listen to me, some of them are dead, some of them are still alive today. A lot of them have regretted that they didn't support the breakup of Nigeria when the Nigerian genocidal war, the Biafran war they called it, happened. I mean, I know some of you watching me right now, you were adults. Some of you even participated in the war, maybe not by carrying guns, but in your own way, supporting the troop who were going after those they called the rebels. The Igbos wanted to leave. They wanted to leave. And Nigeria said they shouldn't, they couldn't leave. 5 million women and children were killed in order to keep them in Nigeria. For what? To continue to be part of this shege, the Nigeria shege, that is not serving anybody. So yeah, let's continue to pretend that your prayers is going to fix Nigeria, that your election is going to fix Nigeria. Keep trying out the same thing you've tried all the time. So it's not on you, it's not on me. I want Nigeria to break up. I want every nation in that country to have their own independence enough to decide and determine how they actually really want to exist. Now, that option was never given to our forefathers. It was never given to those before us. And we are demanding for it right now, but rather, we are being called or being led to the slaughter. It's like a death sentence. But no matter how long they try to make you think, it is not going to happen. Their actions, everyday action, is in fact leading Nigeria to that precipice. We are just trying to see if it's not going to be violence. But it seems it's going to be. They say when you want a peaceful change, if you make peaceful change impossible, you will make a violent change inevitable. None of this is in our control. The greed of this ruling class will eventually make that happen. But if you don't want it to be violent, you should begin to read into the positivity, the advantage of a broken up Nigeria. Please start looking into it. I mean, this time around, there is so much merit than the demerit that they are telling you about. A lot of them are saying, when Nigeria break up, Nigeria will lose the advantage of being the biggest black nation on earth. Nigeria will lose the giant of Africa status. Nigeria has already lost all of this. They are not real, okay? Instead of being the biggest black nation on earth, Nigeria has become the biggest black burden to the rest of the black people all over the world. That's what Nigeria has become. No thanks to these criminal politicians who continue to do the same thing. They will never change. And the more they do this, the more they push us to that inevitable state. Or it's only that when that happens, right? Don't blame yourself. Don't blame me. In fact, somebody like myself will make sense to you more then that I am not the enemy. The real enemy are those who are telling you one Nigeria on this hand. The Igbos cannot be trusted and they will never be president of or lead Nigeria on the other hand. So what is now one about that? I mean, that's Nigeria. So fool me once. It's my fault. I mean, it's your fault. Fool me twice. Then that is my fault. So maybe you should see it that way too. Before you grow old, full of regrets. I mean, full of regrets, like those we call our elders today. They are old, tired, some of them weak. They don't have that mental strength anymore. And a lot of them are looking back and saying, we wished we supported the Igbos when they wanted to break up in 1967. Maybe if we had let the Igbos leave, a lot of other nations would have probably leave as well. And who knows? Maybe the destiny of Nigeria wouldn't be this horrible and terrible. The future of Nigeria will probably not be as bleak as this. So I'm not going to wait till I am 80 or 90 by living a lie in my adulthood, telling myself that Nigeria is going to get better when I actually see those who are destroying her, those who are going to make that great, better Nigeria impossible, parading themselves as your leaders. I'm not going to pretend. I'm going to do this for the sake of the younger people. So I'm not going to wait till I am 80 years old and I'm going to be regretting and say, and I thought Nigeria was going to work, and I thought Nigeria was going to be better. You, these young people, it's now over to you to make sure that you make Nigeria better. We are old now. We are going. I'm sorry, Jare, my older audience. I'm sorry for the blinking as well. Okay, I intentionally didn't want to change the battery. I want to use that plug-in and see how long or how many times the blinking happened, and it has happened many times. Okay, so I have aged citizens who are the brethren and the temple of truth, following Mayegun's diary political, and indeed, a lot of them will tell you, if they had a chance of going back to 1960s, they would support the Biafrans to have their country. If they knew that Nigeria was going to become what it is now, when they were younger, they wouldn't have supported the propaganda that saw to the killings of over 5 million people. I don't want to be older. I don't want to grow old. I'm full of that regret. I'll see you some other time. Good night.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary Nayibi #1. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary Nayibi #1. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Mayegun diary Nayibi #1. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Mayegun diary Nayibi #1. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun diary Nayibi #1. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun diary Nayibi #1. Bó bá ṣe àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun diary Nayibi #1. fatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Máyégún.
Máyégún Diary na ibi number one.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Máyégún Diary na ibi number one.
Àní Máyégún làwa mọ̀ tó dódòdó.
Máyégún Diary na ibi number one.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé. Máyégún ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀, Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́, ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ fòyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o, ó kó ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. ayégun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súra kí ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.